I hate invaders. So, welcome to Invader Drops Only, where I kill people who look different than me. Yes, I'm doing this run solely for the reason that I discriminate against people with red skin color. To put it bluntly, I am racist. But to be a true racist, I have to beat all of Elden Ring.
Yes! 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 Yes!
With only the remains of the people I discriminate against. Invaders. That means going the entire run with no upgrading, no starter gear, no talisman pouches, no torrent, and no crimson tears. So welcome to what I would consider,
God damn it! You ass!
one of my hardest challenge runs yet.
He holds it for so long!
But before I get into the actual hell that is this run, we have some rules to go over. Firstly, this is an Invader Drops only run, so if an invader doesn't drop it, we can't use it. However, we can still pick up items that are not dropped by invaders. A good example of this is being able to pick up the Dectus medallion, but not being able to use them to go to Altus Plateau. Secondly, any drops dropped by a hostile NPC or player invasion, including all of the Volcano Manor quest lines, do not count towards invader drops, since hostile NPCs are not invaders, and player invasions forces the player to be the invader, not the other way around. Thirdly, all glitches are allowed except the zip glitch, since the zip glitch is a little broken.
What the hell? Oh my god!
Lastly, runes that are not dropped by invaders are allowed, since this run would be very tedious if I had to keep wiping my runes every time I killed an enemy. Now with that being stated, we need to start our run with the most beautiful character imaginable that totally hasn't used their social status to message underage fans.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Of course, I'm talking about James Charles.
Hi, sisters.
With our character being spawned in, the first thing we need to do is remove all the gear from our inventory so that we don't immediately invalidate the run. Whew, that was a close one. And now with only our bare fist, we do the normal thing and get spanked by the grafted scion, ending up being thrown in a sex dungeon and given the Crimson and Cerulean Tears. Now normally we would use these Crimson and Cerulean Tears to fill our health and FP throughout the run, making this game much easier since we can make more mistakes and take a lot more hits throughout the boss battles. But in this run, that is not the case. We aren't allowed to use either the Crimson or Cerulean Tears, since they weren't dropped by any invader, and instead were just spawned into our inventory upon receiving consciousness. This means we can't heal at all, nor can we refill our FP bar if we run out of mana. Which also means we have to get through boss battles
Oh my god, I'm alive. What the hell?
without taking too many hits.
And I'm dead.
And we can't replenish the HP we lost without using the Crimson Tears, and I think you get the point now. After receiving the useless healing items, we go and visit Melina, our underground horse dealer, who strikes up a deal with us in the form of this horse, which, as we know, we can't use for the same reasons we can't use the Crimson Tears. So enjoy the footage of me wasting time running around the game because an invader didn't drop the only movement item that's given to us. Now with literally nothing in our inventory, our first goal of this run is to obtain a weapon. With only our fist to use, and the fact that invaders are much too random, we need to find an invader that we can use deceptive methods against.
There he goes. Guys, I did it!
And for that, I chose to kill the Bloody Finger Nurius. Why? Well, he drops a weapon. And if we do any sort of damage to Nirelus, this guy pops in. And while I'm not allowing summons or ashes this run, this guy is different, since he's on some Sigma mindset grind set and summons himself into our world without us actually having to summon him. This means we can watch Yura and Nereus duel it out against each other while watching from the sidelines, eating premium grade, organic, low-calorie popcorn with no artificial, and Yura has died. Unfortunately, this naive thinking of sitting on the sidelines gets Yura killed, since he's not built different, and nor am I.
Fucking hell. Oh.
So while Yura is assaulting the invader, we have to help him with the only poise-breaking move we have, aka
the kick.
The kick allows us to stun break the invader, which interrupts his move and can allow Yura to properly do his job.
You have one job. Get him.
After enough times of trying this over and over again, and properly learning when to kick the shit out of the invader, and attempting not to die to the Bloodblade attacks,
Oh my god.
we finally
Yes. Come on, please. Come on. Yes, 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 yes.
kill our first invader. With the invader vanquished, we get his weapon, Reduvia. Now this weapon is extremely important for two reasons. First of all, it applies bleed damage. Bleed damage does not scale with our stats, and instead is scaled off the enemy's HP, which stands for health penis. This means we will always do a consistent amount of bleed damage to enemies, even with a shitty +0 weapon. Secondly, Reduvia's Ash of War, Bloodblade, is amazing. Really amazing. In Oversight, this Ash of War is a ranged bleed attack that does just a tad bit more bleed damage than using the dagger regularly. However, it has a secret effect most people don't know about. If you stand extremely close to an enemy and use your Bloodblade attack, it does a critical hit that doubles the amount of bleed that's injected. Kind of like heroin. To put it in perspective, bleed is a build-up status effect that, if not inflicted within short intervals, slowly fades away. So if you were to fight an enemy that requires 4 hits to bleed, and you only hit them 3 times, and you wait a little too long between the 3rd and 4th attack, well, you don't proc the bleed. Instead, the status effect will reset, and you'll have to hit the enemy 4 more times to proc bleed. The reason this is important is because the critical attack for the Bloodblade cuts that requirement in half. So instead of trying to hit a boss 10 times very quickly, I only need to hit a critical attack 5 times to get the same effect. Basically, this is a very good weapon with a very good Ash of War that's going to help us get good throughout the run. With our first weapon being acquired, we've accomplished our first goal, and now we need to go and slaughter the other invaders in Limgrave. And with gravity as our weapon, this is quite an easy feat. I guess they should change the name of this to Invader Grave instead of Limgrave, because you know, invaders. Now with that done, our new objective is to kill 2 demigods so that we can gain access to the royal capital. Currently, there are 4 demigods present in the lands between. First off, we have Rykard and Rennala. While Rykard might seem like an easy option in a normal run, without the ability to use the Serpent Hunter, and knowing for a fact he has the most amount of HP in the game, the only thing getting past the throat goat Rykard is your cousin at a family get-together. Rennala, on the other hand, is impossible to get to because to get into her academy, we need the academy key. And that key isn't dropped by an invader. So there's no way for us to even make it into her territory. That leaves us with Godric and Radahn as the only 2 demigods we can face. First up is Godric the Grafted.
God damn it.
But before we get to him, we need to go through Margit the Fell Omen. And I fought this guy more times than the days it took your father and mother to figure out that they just don't love each other anymore. But to prepare, I did go to Caelid, ran past a dragon, and murdered the mother dragon Grail for that sweet, sweet milk she drops in the form of runes. With the abundance of runes, I made sure I had enough to wield the Reduvia and stuck the rest into Vigor. Now going back to the Margit fight,
No!
I died a few times due to the fact that I haven't played this game in a while, and I'm a bit rusty. But I mainly abused the fact that we have a bleed weapon to dwindle the health down and use my experience to correctly dodge all the corresponding attacks.
Yes! Yes! Woo! I did it! Margit is down!
Now after Margit, I went to go try my way with Godric the Grafted. God, I wish I was that and try I did.
How? He holds it for so long!
Being the first time I had to melee Godric the Grafted with a +0 weapon, I had a little bit of a learning curve to get through. So instead of going through this bullshit, I decided it's best we kill all the invaders in the other lands to increase our repertoire of weapons. Since, if you didn't know, we only have one. The journey first takes us to the Round Table Hold, where I kill the Mad Tongue Alberich for the Taunter's Tongue, which is completely useless this run. And then we jog our way all the way to the Weeping Peninsula, through a castle, to go fight Leonine Misbegotten. Now Leonine is a difficult fight at first, especially with his arsenal of quick attacks and never-ending combos.
Bro, man is ferocious.
After trying for a little bit,
Oh, dodge! I tried to dodge! God! I dodged! What? 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 That's insane!
I started to notice
I jumped!
that a majority of his attacks can easily be avoided by dodging backwards. The attacks where he basically homed in on my position were the hardest to dodge, obviously, but also the easiest to memorize. And by the time it was the final run, I had most of it down and got through the entire fight while only being hit once.
Yes! 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 We did it!
Now with my excitement at the maximum, I took my robust ass to Liurnia of the Lakes so that I can go on a detour all the way to the Revenger Shack to kill Edgar the Revenger. Now if I didn't kill Leonine Misbegotten,
Yes!
this guy wouldn't have spawned, so that's why I went to the Weeping Peninsula to go do all of that.
Yes!
Edgar the Revenger isn't your normal invader, besides the fact that gravity works splendiferously on him. He drops quite a few items, the most important one being the Banished Knight Halberg, which upon further inspection is a +8 upgraded weapon. Now as we know, I can't upgrade my weapon at all this run, since no invader drops the required smithing stones for me to upgrade. However, this is the only weapon among the invader drops that is pre-upgraded. So based off that, this weapon will do more damage than any other weapon we pick up the rest of the game. Now speaking of other weapons, we journeyed our way to Smoldering Church after killing Edgar to go and fight Anastasia, Tarnished Eater. And the only thing she's going to be eating is the spinning strikes from my Banished Knight Halberg. Anastasia drops the Scorpion Charm, which is another useless drop we can add to the list of useless invader drops. And now with her dead, we can venture our way to the Dectus Medallion Site of Grace, where we need to play red light green light with the Frenzy Flaming Tower. And just barely being able to make it.
Yes! I made it! Oh, just barely.
To then go to the Church of Inhibition to fight Festering Fingerprint Vike.
Take this! God damn.
Which, with the Beyblade Halberg, went as well as you'd expect it to. And with that we gain Vike's War Spear, which does less damage than the Banished Knight Halberg and has less range. So basically, it's shit. And now with all the possible invaders dead, we can take ourselves back to Godric the Grafted to tempt fate once more. And a wise man once said,
The thing about Godric is I have to play him safe, because if I don't, he's quite the tough bastard.
And that man was very correct, and also very handsome, and also extremely intelligent, and also getting too close to Godric was the worst thing we can do during the fight. He has this one tornado attack he does randomly that feels impossible to dodge if you're standing too close to him. Luckily, with the range of our newly acquired halberd, we can do periodic jump attacks, followed with me running for my life, so that I can avoid taking damage. Cause I can't heal. Once I'm capable of taking him down to first phase, we can switch our weapon back to Rejuvia to inflict copious amounts of bleed damage in Godrick's fleshy body. We can also take advantage of the fact that he stands still frequently during second phase to do the critical Bloodblade attack on Godrick, dwindling his health at an exponential rate. After enough attempts of getting used to his attacks, and developing the strategy of hitting Godrick once and then victimizing ourselves, and then logarithmically injecting large amounts of foreign fluids into his rectum, we kill Godrick the Grafted.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, we did it. That took a lot longer than it should have.
And now, following our objective to kill 2 demigods, we have one more to go. And his name is Radahn, Radane, Refrain, Ray, Robert. Yep, that sounds about right. But before we go to face Robert, we can venture to Altus Plateau to get rid of a few more invaders. To get to Altus Plateau without using the Dectus Medallion, since not an invader drop, I have to walk my way through a few mine shafts. Oh shit, wrong game. The mine shafts in Elden Ring. What the hell is that? Leads us to go face the magma worm, or how I like to pronounce it, magma wire. Now, besides doing a ton of damage, this boss fight isn't all too hard, as long as you don't mind practically being inside this man for the entire fight.
Hold on, pause.
Which, as a man of culture, I don't.
Pause. Again.
Being super close to him for the entire fight makes a majority of his attacks miss. So the only attack we need to look out for is this spin attack. Ah, goddammit. Which is a carbon copy of my signature move. Once we learn how to avoid that, he becomes a bipedal reptilian.
He's going sicko mode.
And we need to stay within sucking distance of him, so that we don't die. And not for any other reasons, of course.
Come on, stay near his penis. Yes! Woo!
With the magma wire dead, we have access to Altus Plateau, where we can go through a grocery list of invaders and, murder them. Ignore the fact that I have armor on in these clips, since I thought the hostile NPC was an invader and equipped her armor because of it. I only used the armor to kill these invaders,
yes,
and took it off during the Radahn boss fight. I also would like to point out that I didn't use the Anspear Rapier drop to kill any enemies during this either.
Yes!
But if you find this run invalid because of this small hiccup, I understand. So feel free to express your First Amendment rights in the comments below, while I express my Second Amendment rights to shut you the fuck up. Now, after killing all these invaders from Altus Plateau,
yes,
we gain Eleanor's pole blade, which is shit. The sacred butchering knife, also shit. And the pizza cutter, which is also shit. The reason all these weapons are shit isn't just because they're +0 and do no damage, which is also the case. Some of these weapons can be useful for stun breaking, and some of them can even apply bleed, just like Rejuvia. And some of them can even do both. However, as of version 1.08, these weapons have been nerfed heavily, to the point where it's not even worth using them. Even ROB,
yes,
that I'll get later, is shit, for the exact same reasons. So I swear to God, if I get another message telling me to use a weapon outside of the blessing that is our Beyblade spinner, and or our health depletionist, I will anonymously leak the petabyte of data you keep in that secret folder that you call culture. So comment at your own risk. Now with those invaders dead, we go and fight
oh my god,
the demigod.
All right, run towards him. What?
Robert.
Please, use all my luck. No!
Radahn, as we all know him, is the first
and I'm dead.
real difficult boss this run.
And I'm dead.
We can't use Torrent to dodge him, we can't use summons to make the fight easier, and we sure as hell don't do enough damage to finish him off quickly. This only leaves us with the option of learning his moveset through a significant amount of trial and error. And a significant amount of trial and error it will be. So here's what I learned during all this death. First, I learned that we can avoid his arrow barrage at the beginning of the phase by running backwards. He'll disappear from existence, and once we walk back, he'll just pop back into existence without the urge to shoot us with thousands of arrows. Next thing was learning how to dodge his combo attacks, which wasn't too hard since he spams them 100 times in every single one of the runs.
Oh, I dodged! Ah.
We can use these combo attacks to do some damage, along with the variety of other attacks he has during this phase. I won't go too in-depth on it,
Dodge! What the fuck, man?
but what I will say is that this attack and this attack
I fucking, oh my god.
really suck. On one hand, he holds back his blade for what feels like an eternity, and on the other hand, he does a spin attack far superior from my spin attack
Oh my god.
that covers an area larger than I can even dodge past. Yippee. Once we learn how to dodge most of that, we can get him down to a quarter of his health, which signifies the second part of his first phase. In this phase, he will do a variety of gravity attacks, my favorite
Oh, come on.
being this one.
What?
And he'll also do all the same attacks we were struggling to dodge in the beginning.
I fucking dodged.
After many hours of getting used to dodging these new attacks, we can then make it into his second phase. Didn't happen very often, but it did happen. The second phase transition is signified by this man jumping into the stratosphere and coming at us like a meteor. In this phase, all of his combo attacks have a little bit more lightning in them.
Oh, come on. What? He just did so fast.
And he also summons large, balls.
Oh, come on. I tried to dodge. Why?
Now once we get halfway through second phase, we now get to the final section of this boss fight, which is signified by Radon drilling into me, uncensored. This phase is the same as the one before.
Whoa.
He just gains the drilling attack he does here.
I dodged it. What the hell?
This attack seems really hard to dodge,
I'm alive.
and took me literal hours, 4 streams in total, before I watched a YouTube video showing me how I can dodge it by just running towards him.
Run towards him. Run towards him. Run towards him.
Yes, it's that easy. You just run away. Moral of the story?
No! Oh,
I've spent too much of my life
I dodged!
fighting this man.
Yes! Yes! 4 streams! Yes! Yes! I did it!
Now with Robert dead, we've completed our objective in killing 2 demigods. And now we just need to progress the game like normal. Go through the capital we just unlocked, go to the mountaintops of giants, talk to the sanest man in the world.
May chaos take the world!
I totally don't have NSFW Frenzy Flame pictures on my computer. Go to Farum Azula, get to the Ashen Capital, you get the point. To do this, however, we first need to get into Leyendell, which we unlocked after killing Godric and Robert. Now all we have to do is defeat the Draconic Tree Sentinel who's guarding the entrance. Unlike normal Tree Sentinels, the Draconic Tree Sentinel can use both fire
Oh, come on.
and lightning,
Oh my god, I did not know he could do that.
making his moves a little more dynamic.
Oh, come on. I barely ran into it. Oh.
However, we can just ignore this expanding moveset of his, since he can easily be cheesed. Usually the cheese for Draconic Tree Sentinel is to sneak up behind him, use Poison Mist, wait 20 minutes, and bada bing bada boom, he dies. But obviously, we can't use Poison Mist, making this strategy slightly irrelevant. However, since we can sneak up behind him, we can use this as an opportunity to do the critical Bloodblade attack to proc bleed 2 times before the fight even starts. And obviously, since he still has health left, we now have to fight him the normal way. Or at least, that's what you think. Instead of fighting him like a normal Elden Ring YouTuber, I am quite, what's the word? Special. Why am I special, you might ask? Well, I'm a bitch. See this attack right here? Where he runs up to us, jumps, and then does a slam down attack? Well, he does this attack quite frequently. And there's an opportunity right after he does it for us to attack him 1 to 2 times with our Banished Knight Halberd. Now figuring this out doesn't make me a bitch. Unless you, aka me, decide to only use this attack as an opportunity to hit him the entire fight from start to finish.
Yes! 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 Woo! We did it!
That's a little bit of touch and go, guys. Now with access to the royal capital, we can make our way to go and fight the Shade of the First Elden Lord. Now this guy is a husk of the real Elden Lord, which we're gonna have to fight later on anyways. So instead of doing the usual thing and narrating over this fight,
No!
like I'm doing right now,
Oh, come on! Really? I almost beat him!
I'll just explain this later on in the video.
Really? 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 Really?
All you need to know is that I used his double axe swing and left foot stomp as an indicator to attack him periodically, and yeah, this fight wasn't all too hard.
Yes! Whoa! We did it!
However, the next fight, Morgott, the Omen King, was quite the tough bastard.
How? What part of that hit me? Was it my tiny head? Or my dummy thighs?
Now, we've already fought a version of this fight in Stormvale Castle at the beginning of the video, but to explain more in depth, Morgott has a large variety of attacks, especially when he enters second phase. Most of these attacks are normal run-of-the-mill boss attacks. However, some of these attacks, from Morgott, require frame-perfect timing and positioning to correctly dodge. Now, since Morgott and Morgott are the same person, spoiler alert, they both have these impossible-to-dodge, frame-perfect attacks. Now, along with the plethora of attacks copied over from when we fought Morgott can now throw spears, multiple knives, do a dashing slash attack, more spear attacks,
Oh! I'm alive!
more hammer attacks, because why not, more sword attacks, all the above multiplied by 2, and basically he's a huge pain in the ass.
Come on!
So in order for us to get through this, we're gonna have to go back to when I fought the Draconic Tree Sentinel literally 30 seconds ago, and use the I am a bitch strategy again. Basically, instead of us learning every single one of Morgott's attacks, we're gonna learn the ones that we can do damage against, this spear attack and this jumping attack, and rely on that throughout the entire fight to do incremental damage. Every other attack we ignore completely, and pray to God he doesn't start doing cartwheels and backflips. For when he enters his second phase, we do the exact same thing, except now he has a few more attacks we have to dodge
Oh, no!
while waiting for him to do the spear and or jump attack. When he does those spear and or jump attacks, I run at him, hit him once or twice, flee the scene, just like what I did with my ex-wife. He'll do the attack again, we'll hit him again, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Skill issue? I did that shit hitless.
Now with Morgott dead,
Foul tarnished.
we grab the Roid Medallion from Melina, use it to go up to the mountaintops of giants, and make our way to the Wait a second, something doesn't seem right here. Oh right, this is an Invader Drops only, and Melina's Roid Medallion offer isn't an Invader Drop, so we can't use it to go to the mountaintops of giants. I almost thought this challenge run would be normal. Since we can't get to the mountaintops of giants, we can't progress any further in this run, which also means the run is over. Yeah, I'm joking. Remember when I was reading out the rules and I said, Thirdly, all glitches are allowed except the zip glitch. Well, one of the glitches prevalent throughout the Soul series, so much so that some speedrunning categories prevent you from even using it, is the wrong warp. Now, I wish I could tell you how the wrong warp works, but I really don't have a goddamn clue. What I can tell you is that if we get our character under the elevator shaft, where we would usually use the Roid medallion, open up our map, teleport over to the Castleward tunnel, and then Alt F4 at the end of the loading screen, when loading back into the game...
It worked! It worked! Yes! I did it!
After getting past that obstacle, we can now jog our way to the Repost Church, where we have access to everyone's favorite invader. Once we kill him,
Yes!
after a few too many attempts, we gain the Okina's Mask and Rivers of Blood. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. No, no. I'm not gonna use it. Now, there is a few more invaders left throughout the world, such as Ensha, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, Dung Eater, Please Defile Me, Dungy, Millicent, Sanguine Nobles, I also think I'm pronouncing that one wrong, another Anastasia, and 3 White Mask Vares. However, all these invaders are either blocked off by some sort of key item needed to access them, or they just don't drop anything worth mentioning. So, if you're wondering why I haven't gone to kill any of these invaders, well, that's why. With Okina being the last invader we will vanquish this video,
Yes!
all that we have at the current moment is what we'll have for the rest of the game. So be prepared to watch me do more spins and blood attacks until I go mentally insane. Speaking of mentally insane though, we have the Fire Giant to fight, who is usually one of the worst bosses to fight in a challenge run. This is because he has more health than any other boss in the game, and I can't use Torrent.
Are you joking me? How do I dodge this attack?
Torrent would have been really nice in this fight. Initially, when trying to fight this guy on stream, I failed miserably. To even get him to a quarter of his health. This is mostly because I didn't practice at all for the fight, and I don't have Torrent. After practicing for, a few hours, I got pretty good
I dodged it.
at handling his first phase attacks.
Ah, no! Ah!
And slowly but surely started to get his health down further and further.
Oh, no! Don't roll to me! What is wrong with you?
The main takeaway I got from this phase was to position yourself as best as possible within the arena, because the Fire Giant is really big.
I didn't know he can fall on himself. That's hilarious.
And there are slopes and rocks everywhere, so he can sometimes put you in a really weird position to dodge attacks, making the screen utter chaos,
I tried to run, but the stupid rock was in the way. I don't even know what hit me there.
or sometimes allowing him to just randomly roll on top of you.
How did that hit me?
Once we learn the art of positioning,
Oh, I'm alive.
we learn to levitate and can now enter his second phase,
We did it. We made it to second phase.
where he breaks off his legs like a Kit Kat, sponsor me, and now does a ton of attacks involving fire balls.
No.
These attacks, however, are very easy to dodge, so much so that we can switch to Rejuvia and slowly build up a bleed damage effect throughout the fight. So from start to finish, this fight consists of me positioning myself properly throughout first phase, levitating, and then when second phase initiates, we do a lot of bleed damage, dodge fireballs, do bleed damage, dodge fireballs, do bleed damage, dodge fireballs, do more bleed damage, dodge more fireballs, do more bleed damage, dodge more fireballs, do more bleed damage, dodge more fireballs, and then do more bleed damage.
Yes. Yes. I did it. Yes. Yes.
With the fire giant dead and
Dodge
my
fireball.
annoying ass voice stuck in your head, we touch a woman, she dies, Faramazula, yada yada, GodSkin Duo. You know, from my past runs, this is the make or break boss fight, or as I like to call it,
How did you hit me?
pure bullshit luck.
Bye bye, everybody.
The Lactose Brothers, yes, requires some skill, but also requires a significant amount of luck.
No. How did you get? How did you go above?
I cannot explain to you how many times I died in this fight doing the same thing
Of course, we get the worst possible outcome.
over and over again, only for it to work one random time. And before you call me insane for doing this, I'm insane. I beat you to it. First things first with GodSkin Duo is we have to figure out how to even hit these guys. Now there is a strategy involving a shield, which requires you to parry the duo and then repeat that for the rest of the fight. But sadly, no invader drops a shield, so we can't really do that. What we can do is use the weapons we've acquired thus far and the weapon arts that are attached to them. Out of the weapons we do have, you guessed it, Rejuvia and the Banished Knight Halberg are the best for this fight, as they've been for every fight. Firstly, Rejuvia's Bloodblade attack shoots at just a far enough range for us to be outside of the duo's hitbox. The bleed buildup it does is also going to play a significant role in this fight, since this fight is abysmally slow.
I get up playing more risky, but God, this is so slow.
Roughly 20 minutes of me doing the exact same thing over and over again. And it would be longer if I didn't use this Bloodblade attack. Now the only problem with using the Bloodblade attacks is the fact that bleed resistance is a thing, and I don't have nearly enough FP to use it for the entire fight, since you know, no cerulean tears. And the strategy I concocted with this fight also requires me to use the spinning weapons attack from my Banished Knight Halberg, which just so happens to also require some FP. So after a few attempts of the GodSkin Duo, I realized I didn't have enough FP to last the entire fight. So I looked around for a place to grind for runes, the normal way since we can't use the Torrent Out of Bounds rune farm. Settled on killing these flame women who drop around 500 runes each, ended stream, and then proceeded to grind for 22 hours. Yes, 22 hours. And so nobody at me for cheating in the runes, I have a link in the description to an unlisted video of all 22 hours unedited. And for those of you who don't want to check out that video, here's a picture of the file lengths. Anyways, I did that, and now my mind stat went from a measly 17 to 55, which happens to solve the lack of FP issue during the boss fight. My FP bar being even bigger than my health bar at this point. Now once this FP was acquired, I could fully utilize my strategy of taking down the GodSkin Duo. The initial strategy was to use Rejuvia to deplete the fat guy's health to about halfway, which then will initiate his second phase. During this second phase, he'll do an attack I can only describe as an egg roll. And once he does this attack, we can hide behind a pillar where he will get stuck, and then I can use the Banished Knight Halberg's spinning attack to do a devastating amount of damage to him. And then we wait for him to do the egg roll again, do the spinning attack, he dies, and then we repeat that process 3 more times. Now although I make that pillar part sound really easy, it wasn't.
And of course...
This piece of lard can sometimes randomly go up the pillar.
No! How did you go above?
And sometimes we can randomly get hit while being on top of the pillar.
Of course, we get the worst possible outcome.
So although it's simple to do, it requires a tremendous amount of luck.
No! I tried to dodge, but it didn't stop.
And we need to do this roughly 6 times throughout the entire fight. Another thing about this strategy is that even with 55 mine, we don't have enough FP to constantly bleed the fat guy till the end of the fight.
No!
Since, you know, bleed resistance and no cerulean tears.
No, I can dodge! I fucking dodged!
Because of this, we have to use the Banished Knight Halberg during the first part of the fight, while using the pillars to provide protection against the skinny man's attacks. Through the bit strategy I've explained twice now, I was able to deal with Krispy Kremes by memorizing the few attacks we can actually reprimand. And once second phase hit, I did the spin strategy. The fat man would die, then he would spawn again. I would bleed him twice with Rejuvia, before using the Halberg again. and then I spun him to death. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Now I'd like to point out that I never did damage to the skinny guy. Not only does it cause him to start being more aggressive, but he's also much harder to kill. For, obvious reasons. Now with the strategy down, are you joking me? All I needed to do was work on some dodging errors.
Oh my god!
And put my luck to the test each and every run, doing the same thing over and over again. And as long as my controller didn't die...
Oh my god, my controller! Come on! You better not, controller!
And I'm able to dodge the inconceivable amount of black flames the GodSkin Duo will throw throughout the entire battle.
Black flames is the most annoying attack, man.
While patiently waiting for the Sistine Chapel Man to do the few attacks I memorized, while getting lucky enough not to get rolled on or attacked by the skinny man during second phase, and making sure to only do damage to the fat man throughout the fight so I don't have to deal with the added aggression of Slender Man, and also trying to save as many of these pillars as possible so that I can't make the fight easier, and also doing this multiple times in a row, I'll kill the boss.
Yes! 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 Whoa! Yes! Yes! I did it!
Now with them dead, our skill issue has been recovered, and we can now fight one of my favorite bosses in this game, aka the in-game representation of a furry. Originally, I thought this boss fight was going to be a lot harder than it ended up being. Maybe it's because I practiced this fight a lot in my other runs.
Ah, no!
But countering his moves felt a lot easier than fighting the Milk Duds earlier.
No!
This fight didn't really have any strategy involved in it. Mostly get good, stop being so bad at the game, get a grip, just dodge the attack, stop being so bad, your parents never loved you, I said stop being so bad, you're adopted, could have rolled there, your existence put your family in financial debt, etc, etc. You get the point. The only strategy I did implement was using Rejuvia on second phase so that I can use the bleed damage to get past second phase a lot quicker than first phase. And by the end of this fight, I became the world's best furry murderer.
Yes! 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 We did it! Woo! We killed the furry!
With him dead, we wake up in the Ashen Capital to take on the last 3 bosses in the game. First one up is Gideon the all-knowing dipshit.
Oh, how did that hit me?
And usually this guy would be a walk in the park, but god damn it, this guy knows how to spam every attack in existence. Mostly these stupid
Run!
fucking
Bro, he spams it 6 fucking times.
holy rings that can clip any part of you. And also, he can spam them. I died so many times. To say this boss is pure luck is an understatement. This was by far the most luck-dependent boss thus far. We don't do enough damage to break his poise throughout the entire fight, and trying to cheese him is pretty difficult without the ability to heal. While Rejuvia's bleed does a lot of damage to him, he likes to dodge most of them, leaving us with the option of using our Banished Knight Halberg to pray to God that we can stick him in an infinite loop of spinning strikes, or repetitively hit him out of his attack animations. Both of these strategies purely reliant on him getting near a wall or not summoning spells to decapitate me. Either way, I did not like this fight, and I died a lot of times, so much so that I'm going to put all of them as I'm speaking here and hope that it doesn't give you epilepsy. Oh, and yeah, eventually I just got lucky.
Yes! 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 Pure luck! That was pure luck!
Now with Gideon dead, we can actually face a real boss for once, and this one is a bit different from the ones we've fought so far. Firstly, Godfrey's attacks, for the most part.
That's the attack! That's the fucking attack! God damn it! You had to choose the only attack I don't know how to dodge!
Are pretty predictable and quite easy to dodge. During his first phase, there are a few attacks that can catch me off guard, but other than those, he repeats the same variation of attacks over and over again, He just does an axe swing, a stomp, an axe swing, a stomp, an axe swing, a stomp, until he rips open a lion's mane and goes commando for the rest of the fight. One thing to point out about first phase is that if I'm efficient enough, I can poise break him a few times throughout the fight. And after some practice, I got used to doing jump attacks so that I could poise break him easier and optimize my damage output throughout the fight. Once we get into second phase, which may I add was one of the most confusing phases to learn, he becomes an MMA fighter. And can also defy the laws of gravity and physics. During this phase, we can't poise break him as easy as we did before, because of this one attack that launches him in the air and shows him ripping out a tectonic plate, and is just long enough to reset the poise we were building up throughout the fight. And before you even say anything, yes, he does his attack quite a lot. Add that together with his other attacks that seem very random, and we have a formula for success, because I am the Toweringpants, and my perception is amazing, and I can outwit any and all of my opponents, even Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. And I also spent 15 hours fighting him off camera, but that's not important because through sheer instinct, I was able to dodge most of his advances on me.
Yes! Yes! Thy strength befits a crown! Easily!
Now last but not least, we have to fight Radagon and the Elden Beast. But before that, subscribe, because this took me 3 months to do. To start from the beginning, I already had some experience with fighting Radagon from my other challenge runs. And also prior to this fight, I did some casual off-camera grinding to get my HP to level 55. The unedited 10-hour footage is in the description, which allows me to survive 1 to 2 more hits on Radagon's 3 phases. Phase 1 was the easiest of his phases since none of his attacks have a lingering effect, and in essence I'm just dodging his hammer combo attacks, and attacking him each and every time his hammer touches the floor. If you're wondering how it's possible to dodge all these attacks without getting hit, it's because a lot of Radagon's attacks are combo attacks with limited variability, meaning if he does one attack, he can only follow it up with 1 or 2 other variations. For example, every time he does this 360 hammer attack you see on screen, he can either follow it up with the Rays of Light attack, which usually follows a hammer swing or a grab attack, or he can follow it up with an overhead hammer swing to the ground. So all I have to do is memorize that and instinctively react based on whichever attack he decides to pull out. And as long as all goes well, I'll correctly dodge the attack. I said correctly dodge the attack. I said correct. God damn it, can't you just show a better clip than me getting hit by his stupid attack? Thank you. Anyways, a majority of his attacks follow this limited variability pattern and ramp up once we get him to phase 2, which is indicated by this stomp and physics-defying hammer attack. In this phase, he can teleport around everywhere, and each of his attacks has a lingering AoE blast if we dodge too early. For obvious reasons, this phase is a lot more difficult, since we have to perfectly position ourselves a fair distance from Radagon so that we don't get blasted by his teleporting, but also close enough where he doesn't activate his inner Pikachu and throws thunderbolts at us. As long as we manage to do all this, this phase becomes a lot like first phase, with me hitting him every time I see his hammer hit the ground. Once we get him far enough down, we enter his final phase, indicated by him doing the Elden shattering attack we all know and love. This phase is the same as last phase, but we get to do some good damage to him/her while he/her shatters the ground. And after many attempts, we're bound to be Radagon at least once.
Come on. Yes! Radagon defeated. First time. Jesus Christ, that took forever.
So we can enter the Elden Beast. To start off, I'm actually insanely good at this fight.
Run! Fucking run!
Because this isn't my first masochist run I've done on this channel. So dodging this boss was quite easy since I knew all the attacks beforehand. And if we happen to have HP saved up, I could still tank a hit before I died.
No! Go, go, I'm alive! I'm alive!
The reason that is important to say is because the difficult part of Elden Beast isn't his usual attacks that I've already painstakingly ingrained into my memory, but the array of light beam attacks that can randomly clip our feet. And obviously we can't heal, and if he does his attack enough times,
No! I couldn't do anything because I was against the wall!
we die. Elden Stars also has a similar effect, except I've learned to dodge this attack in my last challenge run, so I don't really have to worry all too hard about getting hit by Elden Stars. If you're curious, all you have to do is use the boss's body to block Elden Stars from instantly auto-tracking to your location. This makes dealing with Elden Stars easier to manage than the light beam attacks that have multiple variations to them and can sometimes kill you from sheer dumb luck.
No, I can't do anything! I can't! It's literally impossible!
Luckily for us though, as long as we save up enough health from Radagon,
Teabag!
we can get rid of the luck component to this fight and rely on pure skill to dodge all the boss's attacks and respond accordingly. The only attack we do not want to see the Elden Beast do is this attack right here. That is because this attack
No, not this attack! No!
is really hard to dodge
Bro decided to do the only attack I can't fucking dodge!
and requires me to not only dodge sideways, but time it perfectly to the ripple effect it causes. I was able to dodge it once though,
No! I dodged it! I dodged it!
and then immediately die afterwards.
No!
But in most cases, I wasn't able to dodge it. After a few warm-up attempts, it's inevitable with my supreme skill set for me to kill this guy at some point. But before I do, I'll be live streaming a Soul Level 1 marathon on this channel next. So if you want to join me on that journey, you should subscribe. If I get to 100k, I'll punch Grail to death. You know, the dragon that has 87,000 health. Anyways, thank you.
Go! Yes! 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 Elden Ring! Invader drops only! Took me 3 months! 3 months!